For 18 months, I sent my mother $3,000 on the first morning of every month. She said the payments were keeping my father out of prison. Every notice looked official. Court seal, case number, deadline, and the same warning printed at the bottom: do not contact the court directly. Then Mom demanded $9,000 within 72 hours. "Jenna," she said, "if you miss this payment, they'll arrest your father." For the first time, I didn't send the money. I drove to the Franklin County Courthouse and handed the latest notice to a clerk behind the records counter. She entered the case number into her computer. Then she read the notice again. Her expression changed. "Who gave you this?" she asked. Before I could answer, my phone started ringing. Mom, Dad, my brother, then my younger sister. The clerk stood, closed her office door, and turned the lock. "Don't answer any of them yet." A message from Mom appeared on my screen. "Leave that courthouse right now. You're going to destroy this family." The clerk looked back at her computer. "Jenna," she said quietly, "your father has no criminal case." Then she turned the screen toward me. "But this case number is real, and your name is all over it." My name is Jenna Whitaker. I'm 38 years old, and that was the moment I learned my family hadn't been using my money to keep Dad out of prison. On the first morning of every month, Mom sent the same message. "Your father is counting on you." I transferred $3,000 into her personal account before leaving for work. For 18 months, I never missed once. $54,000. Mom said one late payment could end Dad's confidential legal agreement and put him in prison. So every month, before fear became a question, I paid. The first notice arrived in a plain white envelope. It had a Franklin County seal, a case number, a deadline, and a warning about Dad's possible arrest. At the bottom, one sentence appeared in bold: "Do not contact the court directly." Mom said Dad's lawyer had demanded secrecy. I had never seen a court notice like it. But when you believe your father may go to prison, official-looking paper is enough. I repeatedly offered to pay Dad's lawyer directly. Mom always refused. She said my job in payroll compliance could make me a witness if my name appeared in the case. Whenever I asked for the attorney's full name, Dad gave the same answer: "Your mother understands the paperwork." Mom controlled the notices, the deadlines, and the account receiving my money. I mistook that control for competence. My older brother Colton owned a remodeling company that was always close to collapse. According to Mom, Dad had approved a financial report containing false expenses. Colton called it an innocent bookkeeping mistake. Dad had supposedly accepted responsibility to protect his son and keep the company open. "He's protecting his family," Mom said. But nobody showed me the report, and nobody explained why protecting Colton required $3,000 from me every month. In our family, Colton created emergencies and I solved them. I was 38, single, financially stable, and careful with money. Mom called me independent whenever she needed help. She called me cold whenever I asked questions. Paige had children and a mortgage, so she could not contribute. Colton's money had to stay inside his company. That left me. My stability had quietly become family property. Dad never sounded normal when prison came up. His voice became quiet, and he changed the subject quickly. Once, I asked whether he was sleeping. "I'll sleep when this is over," he said. Then Mom took the phone and reminded me the next payment was due Friday. I sent it 10 minutes later. I believed Dad's silence came from fear. I did not yet understand that silence can also protect a lie. The newest notice demanded $9,000 within 72 hours. It warned that Dad's attorney could no longer delay an arrest request. Mom called before I finished reading. "This is the final emergency," she said. She had said that before. I asked why 3 payments were suddenly due when I had never missed one. "The agreement changed," she answered. I asked who changed it. Mom replied, "Do you want your father arrested?" At work, I reviewed altered payroll deductions and suspicious documents. That morning, I examined the notice properly. The county seal looked blurred. The font changed halfway down the page. The judge's signature looked copied rather than signed. Then I compared the case number with the previous notices. The digits were the same, but the spacing kept changing. The document looked official from a distance. Up close, it looked assembled. I typed one question into the family group chat. "What is Dad's attorney's full name?" Paige called immediately. "Delete that message," she whispered. "Mom doesn't want details in writing." Colton sent an angry voice note accusing me of risking Dad's freedom. Dad wrote, "Please trust your mother." Nobody gave me the lawyer's name. They were not confused by my question. They were frightened by where I might ask it next. For the first time, I did not send the money. I took every notice to the Franklin County courthouse. A clerk named Denise entered the case number into her computer. Then her expression changed. "Who gave you this?" she asked. My phone began ringing. Mom, Dad, Colton, Paige. Denise closed her office door and locked it. "Don't answer them." Then she turned the screen toward me. "Your father has no criminal case. But this number is real." Denise searched Dad's full name, birth date, and address. Nothing appeared. No criminal charge, no warrant, no defense attorney. She checked nearby counties in case the notice listed the wrong courthouse. Still nothing. Then she placed the document beside her keyboard. "Jenna, this case number was never assigned to your father." My 18 months of fear had been built around a case that did not exist. Denise pointed to the first digits. Franklin County criminal cases followed one numbering system. This number followed probate formatting. Someone had chosen a real-looking number, assuming I would never know the difference. Denise opened another database and entered it carefully. A genuine case appeared. But it had nothing to do with Dad facing prison. It belonged to someone who had already died. The screen read, "In the matter of the estate and property of Evelyn Whitaker." My grandmother had died 3 years earlier after refusing every call and letter I sent. Colton's remodeling company appeared throughout the case. Dad was listed only as a witness. Then Denise scrolled farther and stopped. "Jenna," she said, "your name appears on one of the financial certifications." The certification claimed I had reviewed and approved a loan secured by Grandma Evelyn's house. My signature appeared beneath it. It looked clean, familiar, and completely false. Then I recognized it. Someone had copied it from a tax authorization I prepared for Dad years earlier. They had not imitated my handwriting. They had taken my real signature from a document my family already possessed. Denise compared the latest notice with archived court forms. The signature belonged to a judge who had retired 2 years before the date printed beside his name. The seal had been copied from a public document and stretched out of shape. Denise called her supervisor. "We may have fabricated court correspondence," she said, using an active probate case number. That was when this stopped being a family misunderstanding. I left the courthouse without answering a single family call. At home, I downloaded 18 months of bank statements. Every $3,000 transfer had gone into Mom's personal checking account. Not one payment went directly to a court, attorney, or legal defense fund. $54,000 had passed through Brenda Whitaker first. Whatever Dad's supposed legal crisis was, my mother controlled every dollar connected to it. My bank's fraud department helped trace the transfers. A pattern appeared immediately. Within 24 hours of receiving my money, Mom sent $2,500 to an escrow company. The payment notes referenced Evelyn Whitaker's estate. The remaining $500 went to an account ending in the same 4 digits printed on Colton's remodeling invoices. My monthly payment had been divided before I even understood what it was funding. For 18 months, Mom had quietly sent $500 from every payment into Colton's business, $9,000 in total. He had praised Dad for protecting his son while accepting money extracted through an imaginary prison threat. The criminal case was fake. But the rescue of Colton had never stopped. My family had simply found a new source and frightened her into paying automatically. The escrow company confirmed that 3 settlement installments were overdue. Each one was exactly $3,000. Mom's urgent demand was not a final attorney payment. It was the amount needed to repair 3 missed installments before the estate administrator reported the default. Dad was not 72 hours from arrest. My family was 72 hours from having Grandma Evelyn's old case reopened. I returned to the family group chat and asked, "Why are my payments going to Grandma Evelyn's estate?" Paige called before anyone answered. "Delete that," she whispered. Please don't put names and amounts in writing. I asked how she knew there were amounts. She went silent. Then I heard Mom's voice in the background. Tell Jenna the courthouse made a mistake. The probate file showed that 7 years earlier, Grandma Evelyn's house had secured a $180,000 home equity loan. The application claimed the money would pay for safety renovations, medical equipment, and long-term care. But I had visited afterward. The broken porch rail remained. The upstairs bathroom was never remodeled. Whatever that loan had purchased, it was not Grandma's comfort. More than $140,000 had gone directly to Whitaker Home Solutions. Colton used it to pay overdue taxes, settle supplier bills, and purchase a new company truck. At the time, he told everyone he had landed a major commercial contract. I remembered Dad raising a glass to his comeback. Grandma's house had financed that celebration. Nobody had thanked her. The loan file identified me as the family's financial advisor. A certification bearing my copied signature stated that Grandma understood the risks and that I recommended the transaction. I had never attended the closing or spoken to the lender, but Grandma had seen my name beneath those words. Suddenly, her silence made sense. She believed I had helped my family take her home. A court investigator had recorded Grandma during the original dispute. Her voice sounded weaker than I remembered. She said, Jenna told Alan this was safe. I trusted her. I stopped the audio halfway through. The accusation was real because she believed the evidence placed in front of her. My family had used my name to deceive her, and allowed her to die, blaming me. The estate inventory listed a sealed box removed from Grandma's bedroom. Its description read, Correspondence from Jenna Whitaker. Unopened. Mom had always claimed Grandma returned or destroyed every letter I sent. Instead, someone had intercepted them and stored them where she could not read them. My family had preserved proof of our separation while telling each of us the other had chosen silence. The court allowed me to contact Tessa Monroe, the former title officer who processed the loan. She remembered my family immediately. Brenda had insisted that every statement be mailed to my parents' address instead of Grandma's house. Tessa had also kept handwritten notes because the explanations kept changing. One line read, Evelyn refuses, unless Jenna confirms. Jenna not present. Alan says she approved. Dad had not merely stayed silent after the fraud. He had persuaded Grandma to sign by telling her I personally reviewed the loan. Tessa remembered Grandma asking 3 times whether I knew her house could be lost. Each time, Dad answered yes. The father I had spent 18 months trying to save had used my name to deceive his own mother. The probate dispute had ended with a confidential civil settlement. My family agreed to repay part of the missing money in monthly installments to avoid a larger lawsuit and possible fraud referral. The monthly amount was $3,000, exactly what Mom demanded from me. I had unknowingly funded the settlement for wrongdoing committed through my stolen signature. They made the victim pay for the cover-up. Paige finally met me in a grocery store parking lot. She admitted downloading court pages and mailing several notices. Mom had called them harmless reminders. Then Paige confessed that one missed settlement installment had been used to cover her overdue mortgage. She claimed she never understood the entire scheme. But she understood enough to accept money created by my fear and beg me not to put it in writing. I confronted Dad alone in his garage. He admitted there had never been a criminal case. Mom convinced him the lie would last only a few months because I could afford to carry the family. I asked the question that had been waiting since I heard Grandma's recording. Did she die believing I betrayed her? Dad looked down and said nothing. His silence was my answer. Before I filed anything, Mom contacted relatives, church friends, and Dad's former coworkers. She claimed I had always known the payments covered Grandma's settlement. According to her, I was pretending to be deceived because I wanted control of the family property. By evening, cousins were sending messages about loyalty. Mom understood that if she damaged my character first, fewer people would question her documents. 2 days later, Dad signed a sworn affidavit. It claimed I had voluntarily agreed to pay part of Grandma's settlement during a conversation at my parents' kitchen table. That conversation never happened. The affidavit described the fake court notices as harmless family summaries. Dad had promised to tell the truth. Instead, he placed his signature beneath Mom's newest version of the lie. Colton told the estate administrator that I had approved Grandma's original loan. He claimed I was attacking the family to protect my professional reputation. As a payroll compliance manager, even an accusation of financial misconduct could threaten my career. His strategy was clear. He was no longer asking me to stay silent. He was creating a reason for investigators, relatives, and employers not to believe me. Mom announced that she and Dad would sell their house because I had abandoned the family. She posted photographs of moving boxes and told relatives they might become homeless. But property records showed their house already secured 2 debts connected to Colton's company. Selling it would not cover the settlement. The boxes were not preparation. They were props designed to make accountability look like cruelty. My attorney asked the court to reopen Grandma's probate matter immediately. The family responded with Dad's new affidavit and requested more time to gather witnesses. The hearing was delayed 10 days. Mom treated the postponement like a victory. She sent one message: "You can still fix this privately." For one night, she believed another signed document had transformed 18 months of fraud into voluntary family support. I stopped arguing with my family. Instead, I preserved everything. Emails were exported with their original headers. Bank records came directly from the financial institution. Each fake notice was scanned and stored without changing its metadata. My company's forensic consultant helped me protect the creation dates. The family expected tears and accusations. I gave them timestamps, transaction records, and documents that could survive examination. Denise received permission to compare the notices with the courthouse document system. None had ever been created, filed, or mailed by the court. Someone had assembled them from 3 genuine probate documents available online. The seal came from one file. The retired judge's signature came from another. The confidentiality warning came from a third. The same copied mistakes appeared across all 18 notices. Digital metadata identified the document author as C. Whitaker-WHS, the account used on Colton's office computer. Several notices had been edited using software registered to his remodeling company. The newest $9,000 demand was created less than an hour after Mom learned 3 settlement payments were overdue. They were not defending old paperwork. They were manufacturing new threats whenever they needed more money. The court pages used in the notices had been downloaded through an account connected to Paige's email. When Mom learned investigators had traced them, she blamed Paige for creating everything alone. Paige called me crying. "Mom said I was helping Dad," she whispered. "Now she's making me the criminal." I told her I would not rescue her. But she could still stop protecting the people preparing to sacrifice her. The night before the hearing, Denise called from the courthouse archive. During the original investigation, Grandma had left one sealed item with special instructions. It was to be delivered to me if anyone ever challenged the financial certification bearing my signature. Mom had repeatedly claimed Grandma left me nothing. Denise lowered her voice. "It's a handwritten letter, Jenna." Then she added, "She wrote it after learning your signature might be false." At the reopened hearing, Mom testified first. She claimed I had always known the $3,000 payments covered Grandma's settlement. She called the fake court notices private family summaries created because I needed simple explanations. My attorney placed all 18 notices in front of her. "If these were voluntary payments," he asked, "why did every letter threaten arrest?" Mom replied, "Jenna only acts when someone gives her a deadline." Colton claimed I had approved Grandma's original loan and later offered to help repair the damage. He said Dad relied on my financial advice because I was the family expert. Then he was asked who created the fake notices. Colton blamed Dad. He called him frightened, desperate, and confused. Dad stared across the courtroom. The son he had protected for 7 years had chosen him as the easiest person to sacrifice. Paige began by repeating Mom's story. Then Brenda's attorney introduced an email blaming Paige for every fake notice. Paige read it twice. Her expression changed. She admitted downloading court pages and mailing several envelopes. But she said Mom dictated the warnings and Colton assembled the documents. "I knew it was wrong," Paige said. "I just kept refusing to ask how wrong." Denise explained that none of the notices had ever entered the courthouse system. The document history led directly to Colton's office computer. The latest $9,000 demand had been created after Mom learned 3 settlement installments were overdue. The retired judge's signature matched a copied image from an old public filing. These were not mistaken documents. They were carefully constructed threats designed to keep me afraid and paying. Tessa Monroe testified next. She read from the handwritten notes she kept during Grandma's original loan closing. One line said, "Brenda asks whether Jenna's name can remain without Jenna present." Another said, "Evelyn refuses unless reassured." Alan says Jenna approved. Tessa remembered Dad placing his hand over Grandma's and promising I understood the risk. The courtroom finally heard how my name had been used from the beginning. Colton's attorney suggested Dad had acted alone. Something inside my father finally broke. He asked to speak and admitted the prison story had been invented. "We knew Jenna would investigate if we mentioned Grandma's settlement," he said. "But if she thought I was going to prison, we knew she would pay." Then he looked at me. It was easier to frighten her than make Colton face what he had done. Denise opened the sealed archive envelope. Grandma had written the letter weeks before she died. She said she discovered my signature had been copied and learned my letters were being withheld. Her final lines were read aloud. "Jenna, they told me you wanted my house. I know now you were trying to reach me. I am sorry I believed them." For 3 years, I had carried guilt that was never mine. The judge reopened Grandma's settlement and appointed an independent administrator. Every payment had to be traced. Colton's licensing board received the evidence involving the false documents. Paige was ordered to repay the money used for her mortgage. Mom and Dad faced civil claims for deceptive transfers and false statements. I received a restitution order. The money would return slowly through liens and monthly payments, not one dramatic check. I could have forced an immediate sale of my parents' house, but Paige's children stayed there several weekends each month. I accepted a court-supervised lien instead. Dad called it mercy. I corrected him. "I am not protecting you," I said. "I am protecting children who did not create this." Then I gave him one final boundary. "I will never again pay for a lie because you call it family." The estate administrator released Grandma's box to me. Every letter remained sealed. Birthday cards, photographs, one invitation asking her to spend Christmas at my apartment. I opened them in order and placed her final apology beside the first card she never received. My family took $54,000 from me, but the cruelest thing they stole was time. Grandma's letter could not return those years. It could only return the truth.